the most dangerous astral projection experience ever. Folks, I have some real, true astral projection stories that I'm going to tell you. I have about 3 of them, okay? So consider yourself lucky. And so I'm going to tell you about these experiences that I've had so that now you will know whether or not you're astral projecting. You will know how to handle it when it happens. You can kind of like be able to calculate when you're going to have them before you go to sleep. I'm going to get you right. Trust and believe. But I'm good. I'm stable. I'm not on meds or anything. I promise. For those of you who've never heard of astral projection, this is something that happens when you go to sleep, when you're in dream state. It has to do with spirituality and, you know, your spirit or your soul self coming out of the body and like exploring the astral plane or whatever. You probably got to do your research on it if you're not too familiar with astral projection. But anyway, like I said, I'm good. And I'm going to tell you this scary astral projection story. I'm going to give that to you last. But first, I want to tell you about the other 2 experiences. But this first experience, I'm not going to tell you about all of it, okay? I'm going to say that for the video at the end. But anyway, the first time I ever like astral projected was when like I had this out-of-body experience. Like I had an out-of-body experience. And this was when I was staying with my cousin. And so it was just a normal day and I was taking a nap. And I just woke up in the middle of my nap and I noticed like I wasn't there. Like I was not there. I was like somewhere above myself, but like I said, my eyes were not open or anything. Like my eyes were closed, but I felt like I was not laying on a bed or anything. I just felt like I was kind of like hovering above my body. And then all of a sudden, like when I started to like try to wake up, because the more I began to realize that something was going on when I was trying to wake up, I began to become more conscious. And so it's like I began to notice my body began to go in like these convulsions. Like I began to shake like really bad. Like I remember gritting my teeth and everything. And it happened for at least like 30 seconds of shaking, just straight shaking. And so the more I began to shake, the more I began to notice like I was coming back to my full body. Because before I couldn't even move or anything. I was just stuck in this like state of consciousness where I was just like floating above what I thought to be my actual body. And so like the more I shake, the more I began to come back into my very own body. And even when I got back into my very own body that day, within those 30 seconds, I still could not wake up. It's like all my muscles and stuff were shut off. Like my brain had not yet sent a signal to my body or something. And so I just sat there for like 5 more seconds trying to not panic. Like I tried to not panic. And so I had to like somehow get my body to know that I'm ready to wake up, because I knew by that time I knew that like I had done some out-of-body experience type stuff, you know, because I was always into spirituality even then. And this was like, what, 3 or 4 years ago. I remember this just like yesterday. That's how significant it is. And so it finally registered. And then I started to notice like my body began to like, you know, get feeling back again. Like my nerves and stuff began to come back to like life, you know. And so I got up, and then I got up and I sat on the edge of the bed and I was like, wow. Like, wow. And I wasn't even like, I wasn't tripping or nothing. I wasn't going crazy. I knew what had happened, but I had never experienced it before. I have never experienced the out-of-body experience. And I'm going to put that video at the end. I'm going to remind you. So I'm going to put this whole out-of-body experience at the very end so you can watch exactly what happened that day. But anyway, so I had this astral projection. Now, that was my first time I had something dealing with outside of my body. Now, the second time was like, let me say, I think about 4 months ago. It was about 4 months ago. Now, this was an astral projection moment, you know, and I'm going to tell you why it was an astral projection moment. But anyway, when I was taking a nap, once again, I was taking a nap. I had came in from a long day. I'm trying to remember what had happened. I was coming in from a long day, and I had just decided to go in my room and take a nap, because that day I think I had to go with my mom to do something at a certain time. So I wasn't planning on sleeping the whole time, because I knew I was going to get up, you know, in maybe like an hour or two. Okay. So I went into my room and I laid down, right? I laid down and I fell out in sleep, okay? Now listen close. This is where it gets very, very interesting. And the way that you know that you astral projecting versus a regular dream is that when you astral project, your spirit is still somewhere where your body is. Like you're close to your body where you're sleeping at or something. You know, I got another experience I want to tell you about too. God, I forgot to tell you that one before I told you this one. But anyway, yeah, you will always feel like your body is somewhere close. Like wherever you at will be like close by to where you're actually sleeping at. That's how you know you're astral projection, because that invisible silver, what the Bible calls it, a silver cord, if you want to look that up. The silver cord, or the cord that connects you spiritually, it still has to be connected, like a freaking dog leash or something. It's still there and it can't go but so far. You know what I mean? And so dreams are like when you just in some remote area, you somewhere that you don't even know where you're at. It's just distorted images in your mind. You might be on a whole another plane from the astral plane. Like you might be somewhere up in the Ethernet, you know, just dealing with different thoughts and frequencies and stuff like that. So that's what makes the two different. And so, okay, so I woke up. This is the astral projection happening, the astral projection experience. And I woke up and I thought that I was like really up, like, you know, I'm getting up, like I'm just about to roam around my home. And so as I got up to like roam around my home or whatever, I'm astral projecting now. I noticed something weird was happening. Like I started hearing this helicopter like come over my home, like, and I'm like, huh? And then I even noticed that, like, you know, the sun wasn't out. Like, it was very, like, dark and gloomy and cloudy. And I'm like, hold on, I know I'm supposed to be going to meet my mom today. I mean, I ain't going out in the rain if it's raining now. So I looked outside. I looked out my blinds or whatever, and I saw that it was, like, super pitch black dark. You know, I heard the rain coming down. I heard the helicopter, you know, and everything. And the next thing you know, like, in my room, I heard a sound ring. Like a tornado sound ring or something, like, you know, an evacuation sound ring. And I'm just like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell? You know, and I'm just sitting in my room like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? I didn't realize that I was astral projecting, but I'm going to tell you how I realized that I was actually projecting. Stay tuned. Keep listening. So all of a sudden in that moment, the sprinkler came on in my room, like a sprinkler. Like, I mean, of course I don't have one in my room, but a sprinkler shot on like, shh. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is this? What is this? And so next thing you know, like I started to panic. And so I started to run to my front door. I started to run to my front door, and I opened up my front door. And next thing you know, when I look outside, it's still dark and gloomy. It's like this big old flood that's like the water is like right there where my steps is, like a flood. And I look back like down that way, and I'm like, this is a big old flood. And I hear the helicopters or whatever, the sound rings are still going on. And I'm just, the first thing that came to my mind is like, end of the world. End of the world. And so immediately I ran back into my room, and that's when I started to notice, like, this is a dream. This is a dream. This is a dream. I had astral projected. And so right when I noticed that this is a dream, end of the world, symbolically end of time for that dream, need to wake up. That's when I woke up, and I woke up in my bed, and I was back to regular reality, and it was a sunny day and everything. And I had looked at my cell phone because I was expecting my mama to call. I looked at my cell phone, and I was actually like late. She had called me like 5 times. She had called me 5 times already. And so I had to rush and get ready and go and meet her. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So the message was, all that stuff was happening because maybe my mama was sending telepathic messages to me to get me to wake up. And so as I was so-called astral projecting, I was experiencing her sending me messages in dream form. You see how it works? You see how this works? Okay, so I'm going to tell you about this other time that I astral projected, and the one I was going to tell you before this one. Okay, so just a small astral projection moment. And so this is when I was living somewhere else, right? I only can remember that I was flying. I had flew out of the house that I was staying in, and I had flew like across the street to like neighbor's house, and I flew above the neighbor's house, and I flew like down the street, you know, no more than, you know, almost a mile. I would say almost a mile, maybe about 150 yards. And I knew in that moment of consciousness, I knew I was astral projecting, because it's like I felt connected to the house that I had just flew out of. You know what I'm saying? Remember I told you about that cord, that connection, that is always still connected with you, so you remain alive. And so this is how I knew in that moment, like I was like how you notice you lucid dreaming, I knew that I was astral projecting. So that was another astral projection experience. Now, this is the experience that I want to tell you about. And this happened to me last night, and this actually inspired this video. So last night, it was just a normal day. I wasn't drinking on any wine or nothing. I didn't have any company over in my house or nothing like that. I actually went to bed at a decent time. My phone went off. It was like, Trenius, it's time to go to bed. It's almost past your bedtime. I actually went to sleep at the proper time. And so the next thing that I did was lay down in my bed. I laid down in bed, and I fell asleep, right? I fell asleep. Now, in my room, there are windows, just like every other room. There are windows, okay? Okay, so I woke up in the middle of the night. And I was awakened by like what seemed to me like wolves or something fighting, and they were making this real weird noise, and it sounded kind of like, don't laugh at me, don't laugh at me. But it sounded like, and it was like super loud. It woke me up out of my sleep, and I'm like, what is that? What is that? And so I lean over out my bed, and I lean over to my window, and like I pulled a little thing up so I can like see a full view of what's going on outside, because I have this big light. I have this big light in my backyard where it just illuminates everything. And so as I'm looking outside, you know, I didn't see anything, but the sound sounded like it was close. It sounded very horrible, like very horrific, like something demonic, like something scary and dangerous. And I'm just like, I even made sure all my lights was off before, you know, anybody noticed that I was in my room. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to turn off my cell phone light or whatever. And, you know, I was just kind of like freaked out, but it stopped all of a sudden. It just stopped. Okay, so when it stopped, you know, I had my blinds still up in my room, so I just wanted to, you know, keep a lookout and make sure there wasn't nothing out there. And so I fell back to sleep. I fell back asleep. And so after this, that's when I woke up again, and I was sitting at the edge of my bed. I noticed I was sitting on the edge of my bed. And so I'm still thinking about, you know, the sounds that I heard earlier, and the window is still up. As I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, I'm just wondering, why am I sitting on the edge of my bed at this time of the night? You know, it just dawned on me, like, have I been sitting right here for like this for a long time? This is scary. This is scary. Like, what's going on? Something wrong with me? And so immediately, like, my intuition tells me to look outside. And so as I'm looking outside, you know, at this time, I feel like I have astral projected, because I don't even feel my legs anymore. It just feels like I'm hovering like on the inside of my room. So I'm just hovering in front of my mirror, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm looking outside, and I'm seeing everything at this point. Like, I'm seeing everything. And so all of a sudden I see like this cheetah fighting with another cheetah in a tree, and it's like loud, and they're like really big animals. And I'm like, why are those animals in the tree? Why are they acting like that? And so it dawned on me, yes, I'm astral projecting. Like, I was astral projecting, and I'm aware of it. And so I didn't freak out, because I done it so many times already. I didn't freak out or anything. And so I started to notice other animals in the woods back there behind my house. And I'm just, like, once again, I'm just sitting there looking, cool, calm, and collective. I know that I'm dreaming. I know that I'm astral projected, because at this point, I had like moved from my room in front of my window to like outside of my window to like, I was like hovering out there in that area. And you won't believe what I seen. Oh my God, you will not believe what I seen. I did see all these different animals and stuff. And I think the only reason why I saw like wolves and stuff walking around was because I heard that sound earlier. But who knows, maybe those sounds earlier could have been a prompt for this astral projection experience that I'm experiencing right now. And so as I'm sitting like in thin air outside of my window, I noticed like these invisible hollow man looking figures walking around like the outline of like where my backyard stops and where my wood starts. It was like this big tall, because I'm up in the air, this big tall like invisible hollow man looking being was like walking like it was a giant. And the reason why I knew it was a giant, because I mean, if I'm up high, I could still determine whether or not somebody's short, small, tall, you know, when they down low, you know what I'm saying? And so it was a giant, and I could also tell by the way the arm was moving, but you could not see like who or what it was. It was just like a light being, like a light being that was super tall, and it reminded me of Hollow Man, how you could see Hollow Man, you know, like when you put when you put water on him or powder on him, but you couldn't see who he really was. You know what I'm saying? So this being was like walking like that, and I'm just like big old shoulders and everything, just big, man, just really. And I'm just like in my dream, I'm just like, oh my God. And so after that, another one comes around the backyard, another one, like, and I'm seeing another one do the same thing and go the same exact direction that the first one went. And so the same type of being was walking the same way, but you know, of course, you know, they were walking differently, but it was just still like a tall being, like, and I felt like a sense of peace. I didn't feel any fear at all, even though the like cheetahs and stuff was still playing in the trees. I know it sounds bizarre, but it's real, folks. Even though these cheetahs and stuff was still playing in the trees, and I was seeing all these animals, and they were all interacting with each other, unlike animals today. It's like they had a different sense of themselves, and it was just so mind-blowing. And so, you know, after that, after I had seen the second being, that's when I think I woke up. That's when, after that, I think I woke up, because I think that I was a little too blown away. When you get a little too blown away and you start to have that little eerie feeling, that frightful flight or flight sensation come over you, where it's like you don't know what to do, you just there, you just feel good. It's like your consciousness, you know, comes back to reality. And so I woke up in the middle of the night again, and I had realized that I had just astral projected. And I was, like I said, I wasn't scared, and I looked out my window again, and I'm just like, okay, there's nothing out there, but I know stuff is out there, because I'm there right now. I could see with my spiritual eyes when I was astral projecting, you know, versus when I'm like reality awoke, you know. And so, folks, yeah, these are the stories of astral projection. Maybe you can relate. Maybe some of my story, you know, touched you in a way that you can go back into your life and you can understand whether or not, you know, your dreams are different from your astral projection experiences. So maybe it helped you. And once again, like I said, the way that you know that you're astral projection is you feel like your body is close by. Like your body is always going to be close by if you feel like you're close by, because you're connected with it spiritually. You know, and when you're dreaming, it's just something distorted. Like you're not in your home or nothing walking around. You're not doing any flying or anything like over buildings and houses and stuff like that. It's just a dream. So that's the difference between a dream and astral projection. Oh yeah, and by the way, folks, leave a comment below and let me know whether or not you've astral projected before. And if you have astral projected or astral traveled, let us know what your experience was like in the very bottom in the comment section. Also, if you want to know more about that first experience, that out-of-body experience that I had when I was like shaking and trying to get back into my body, just click this video right here. I think I was talking about it in this astral projection video right here. So just click that video right there. And if this video resonated with you, give this video a thumbs up, folks. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.